Welcome inside to the Alex Garrett Sports Spotlight. We are live right now from the Long Island State Musial Baseball All-Star Weekend. A tradition continued. Top of the first coming up right now. And it is going to start off with the Long Island Cobras second baseman, John Militano. Leading off tonight's All-Star game from the Long Island Cobras, John Militano. Of course, this is a big event every year, assembled by both Jimmy Rose and Bob Depot. And I know that you guys on the LI State Musial All-Star Weekend kind of like this streaming, so I'm going to provide that for you tonight. And you can keep up with maybe your favorite players in this All-Star game as we are underway here in just a moment. First pitch by Christian Falcaro is low, and the count's 1-0, and we're underway in Central Islip here at the Fairfield Properties Ballpark. Up high, and the count's 2-0. If you remember last year, there was a leadoff homer by Kane Ruiz, which actually developed into a friendship. He's now participating in professional baseball, I believe in South America, and he's doing great down there. And hopefully we get him back on the show. But it started a definite friendship with not only him, but the Long Island Rays, who have a few guys on the team this year, by the way. Obviously, Kane is not one of them because he's participating in professional baseball. 2-1 now from Falcaro. On the way. Strike on the inside corner, and the count is 2-2. And here, I almost said Bethpage Ballpark, the old school name of the home of the Ducks. That is where we're at, 3-2. It's been an annual partnership with the Ducks, and their great operations staff every year makes us feel very welcome here. Anthony, remember him from last year, is back with us, and we have two Gabbies in the booth tonight, so we're fired up here at the All-Star Game. As I try and find that link, there you go. This is the D1, D2. So this is really the game deserving of under the lights. Here's the pitch. Foul ball, and the count holds at 2-2. Day started very early, as it always does, and we had a couple regular season games and a couple of All-Star games already, leading to the main event. It's going to be a 2-2 from Falcaro on the way. That one is skied to left. And with it in left field is Henny for the first out of the ball game. Now batting, David Johnson, shortstop. Now, he's from a team called the Yams. I've never heard of that one. Maybe they're a new addition this season to the festivities. Christian Falcaro, by the way, a right-hander, and that one's laced up the middle for a base hit. And there's one on. Rob Manna is up for let's call him Team American. They didn't really specify for us, but that's okay. Let's call them the first base side team tonight. That's where they're coming from. That one's outside, and the count's 1-1. He's from the MC Biscuits. So that's another new team I'm not familiar with this season. And we'll see if we got some home cooking tonight. Here's the pitch. Oh, laced into right field over the first baseman's glove. He's rounding first. And the ball goes all the way to the wall. Heading to second with a speedy double is Manna. And we are off and running here. Second and third, one out. Now batting from the Long Island Devil Rays, Lou Antos. called strike there. Runners on second and third. 1 out. A lot of the teams opting for their alternate black jerseys tonight. That one's a pop-up here in front of the first base side of the dugout, but out of play just behind the dugout, which is normally resided in by the Ducks. And the count's 0-2 with 1 out. This one's a very different kind of day, obviously. We'll get to that a little later in the broadcast. But it does not take away from his impact on these games. And that one is foul 0-2. And it's part of why we're out here, is to honor my dad this weekend as well, who would always come out to these different games for the last 10 years already. That's crazy, and how time flies. And he just enjoy himself, maybe listen to his radio during the game, but he'd always have fun. He'd always make sure I pronunciate every word possible, every name possible, 1 and 2. As Valcaro is in a bit of a jam here in the top of the first. 9-inning game. There's been a few 7s, a few 9s today, but this one's the 9-inninger, and we're glad you're with us. Here's the 1-2. That one is hit in the left field. Something about the Rays in left field. And that is a grounds rule double. Scoring at least 1, maybe 2. And it is 2-0 for the team on the first base side. Look, that's somehow left field, and that Rays team is. That's where Kane Ruiz hit that homer last year. Now batting, Drew Robertson. Robertson's up from the Selden Oilers. As you know, a lot of these teams are based, almost every one of them is based in Long Island, obviously. And they come together every year to be part of this. That's a ball, and the counts 1-0. Now, the cool thing is, if you go to leaguelineup.com, you actually get to see some of the stats of these guys. And that one is fouled back, and the count is 1-1. And it's interesting to talk about them, because why did they become an all-star? Well, their stats probably got them here, right? Drew Robertson, 471 hitter. I mean, that is worth an all-star appearance. And he's started all 12 games he's been in as well. Count is 2-1, 1 out. Runner on second, 2-0 already here in the top of the first. Ball on the counts 3-1. This weekend started last night with a home run derby, which I heard was pretty remarkable. I heard there was a lot of home runs last night, big blasts, if you will. And that is sometimes difficult to achieve in this ballpark with the dimensions that they're at. But I'm sure it was fun to watch. That's a walk. And now batting, Josiah Green. Another Long Island Devil, right? I remember last year, actually, that team was stacked with them here in the primetime game under lights up high, and the counts 1-0. Alex Valcaro is clearly struggling. And I've got to find out which team he is part of. It's 1-1 with 1 out. Swing and a miss, a big cut there, and the count is 1-2. He is part of the four-seam Falcons. And here's the 1-2. Strike 3, and And that's 2 away. Designated hitter, Fabian Oviedo. Of course, if you're listening live on the LI Sam Musial page right now, you don't have to know to subscribe to this page. But if you're just listening elsewhere and want to know more about this league and still want to play baseball and maybe have a kid that's interested or someone in the college level even that's interested in playing some summer ball, I highly recommend the LI Sam Musial League. As they go basically all summer long in various parts of the island, no less. That one swung and a missed. The count is 0-2. And people, might forget that there's still a second half of the season to go this season. It's going to be an 0-2 on the way, 2 outs. A bit of a slow start here at the D1, D2 All-Star game, but we're pushing through right with you here. And here's the 0-2. Got him foul outside of first. I'm actually thankful to DJ as well, because there were times at Queens College I would be doing announcing, play-by-play, and DJing all at once. I don't even know how that got done, but it got done. For 9 innings, no less, too. So that was a challenge in and of itself. By the way, Luantos is a former Queens College player. And, of course, that's how it's all connected, right? So Queens College this year, that one was outside, winning the ECC and winning their first ever NCAA tournament game down in Delaware. And I talked with Chris Reardon about that. Head coach, who was the coach of Luantos. See, it's all connected, as that's a strike 3, swing and a miss, and we are done with half an inning. After having to play, it's 2, and I'm just saying the National League coming to bat here in the bottom of the first. We'll be back after this.
Here's your host, Alex Garrett.
All right, and we're back here in the bottom of the first inning now, as the first pitch skied to right by Adrian Bautista is caught for the first out. Now batting, Michael Ferreira. This one's a little rocky because the names were specified, but the teams were not. So you got to kind of go by what this list is, and sometimes this list is a little rocky. But we're making it do here at the Stan Musial All-Star Game. Here's the pitch. Swung on and misses. There is a lot dry in that mitt today. Is that once the mitt pops, a lot of dirt comes out of it, and just looks like an arid day of baseball. But I'm going to show you the grounds crew has wet the ground nicely for these guys to play on. It's safe to play on as well. Anyway, it's going to be a 2-1 count. Swung on and missed, and the count's 2-2. Anthony Vano is pitching, by the way. Gets the ground out, and there's 2-A. Vano, a fellow Long Island Devil Ray as well. Now batting, Zach Migliozzi. Zach Migliozzi is repping today. See, the lettering is so dark, you can barely even tell. But I'm trying here to figure out with you. Yeah, so he's from the four-seam Falcons as well. 25-plus league in the Division II East. There's a Falcons West and a Falcons East. That one's fouled. The count's 0-2. Actually, I tell you stats. So Migliozzi earning a spot on the All-Star team by going 381 in his first 16 games. That's right, 381. And counts 1-2. And he's just popped this behind the plate and out of play. The count is 1-2 now. And Christian Valcaro is also with the four-seam Falcons 25-plus East team. Have to specify that as well. He's in the air because even his batting, 364, swung on and missed for strike 3. Vano gets the job done there in a 1-2-3 inning. So at the end of 1, 2-0. D1 versus the D2 squad here at Fairfield Properties Stadium, home of the Long Island Ducks and the Long Island Stan Musial Baseball All-Star Weekend. I was mentioning my dad. Yeah, it's true. Almost every year, up until last, he would venture out with me and roll that, dare I say, treacherous path from Central Islip train station all the way here, and then back in the middle of the night after it was all said and done. And I definitely miss him here tonight, but we do have a few ashes to lay out here. Obviously, we also had a connection with the Ducks, so all of this feels like a full circle evening here. As Chris Snyder will come in now for Division II East. Your attention, please. Now pitching, Chris Snyder. how it looks like the lineup's been arranged as a pitcher per inning in this 9-inning affair tonight. And we already done inning 1. Started a bit earlier than last year, if I remember correctly. As we got the ball rolling here right about 8:15 last year, or 8:30. By the way, if you want to know more about these teams, you got to go to the team rosters website. Long Island Sam Musial has created their own website. It's at leaguelineup.com. Just type in the LI Sam Musial, and they'll be there. Every team, every stat you want, especially because if you're listening on the app, I'm sure you want to know the stats of even the players you support and the family members they are playing in these leagues, in these divisions here. So check it out. Being that we are going back to the Division 1 side of things. And actually, it's a mix-up of them. We're going to go to Derek Santaramo next. As he's not really wearing a name at all. In fact, I don't know what jersey he's wearing, but that's okay. That happens in this game. They just wear some random stuff. It's going to be the top of the second, however. And because he is not wearing a name, I'm actually not going to introduce him for lack of sounding stupid on mic. So I'm not going to announce him, and we're just going to keep on going. First pitch on the way from Snyder is foul back, and the count is 0-1. I've learned a long time ago at this game, if you call out the wrong name, you'll hear it from him or the parents or the family members, and you don't want that headache now, do we? So we're going to avoid that and just keep on pushing here as we are in the top of the second already. Strike, and the count is 0-2. With Snyder dealing, here's the pitch. Ball out. And the count is 1-2 as that one's got away from the backstop, Grabowski. And very, very busy weekend in July. We'll be at the Yanks game tomorrow. Don't worry, don't do play-by-play there, but we'll be enjoying it. Hopefully the Yanks get the rubber game of that series. That one's skied to right. And Tyler DeBallsy is under it. 1 away. Now batting, Joe DePino. Oh, well. DeFino is up, and he's representing the Devil Rays as well tonight. Before we go to the top of the order, here in inning number 2, swung on a miss, and the count's 0-1. DeFino on the season, I don't know if you want to know, and he's representing the D1, Division 1, Long Island Devil Rays. And it's going to be an 0-2 on the way from Snyder, who actually is working economically here. Swung on a miss, 2 away, and it's now going to be back to the top of the order. Back to the top of the order, and John Militano up from the Long Island Cobras. If you could tell the difference in inflections, because I'm kind of more confident if I know with the number and everything like that. If there's no number, I'm sort of of what's creek without a paddle, but we'll get through it, right? So, Joe DeFino, by the way, represented the Long Island Rays Western team. They're divided in a couple geographical divisions as well, with different colored jerseys. That one's grounded foul outside first. Rolling to the dugout, and it's 0-2. They will play tomorrow, so that's right. They have some games back tomorrow. Do the Devil Rays do a lot of these teams, and you can find out their schedules as the Cobras are back up here. And taking the ball is Militano. Not a bad record, guys. They're 12-1 on the season heading into the break. I think that's pretty good, and they play tomorrow against a team called the Outlaws. And they're managed by Nick Zanata, coached by Keith Kobasuk, and that one is low. But a 12-1 record in the division. Pretty good head start. I've seen guys head into the same usual All-Star break basically undefeated. In fact, the Devil Rays of last year, not only did that, they went on to win the chip, the actual championship that this league has. And I got to talk with both Shane Sullivan and Kane about that. So it can happen. And a lot of these guys are in their late 20s, early 30s. Here's the pitch. Swung on and foul back, and the count holds at 2-2. Militano, while he's up, let me give you his stats and how he got to the All-Star game this year. Actually, he's registered a 0 average, so I'm not sure if he's just not gotten any at-bats, but here he is at the All-Star game. Looks like there's no record on him heading into today, but that's okay. An interesting note about this league is that, and here's going to be the 2-2 from Snyder on the way. A lot of these games, especially All-Star games, you never know who the full roster is until really first pitch, because some of these guys in their lives outside of baseball might get wrapped up and might have other commitments that actually send an All-Star team scrambling. So you got to give a credit to those who take the time out to be part of this, not only week in and week out, day in and day out, but All-Star game in and All-Star game out. That one's grounded to short, and Bautista Fields overthrow to first, and Militano's on safely, and the inning continues for David Johnson. Now batting from the Yams, David Johnson. That's right, the Yams, Anthony, the Yams. Do you enjoy yams?
I love yams.
You love yams? That's good to know. Do you like yams?
Not particularly.
Well, I don't really eat them either, but
To each his own.
I didn't think they'd be a name of a baseball team, nor did I see the Biscuits.
I know.
Nor did I see the Biscuits becoming a baseball team either, but here we are. They
Throw
are.
a little food into the mix.
There you go. Is it a summer dish? I guess it's a summer dish or all year dish.
Reminds me of Thanksgiving.
That's right, Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Good
why
catch
not?
there. That one is a stolen base for Militano. And so there's a runner on second. And already a 2-0 lead. Might be adding on to this. We'll have to see. How's David Johnson doing, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. He's batting .433, guys. .433 this season